everyone. Welcome back to Sensible Sundays. I'm here again with Mr. Josh Ebo. Sensible Sundays, what it's all about, it's about us empowering home sellers, home buyers, investors to be well-informed consumers from the start of their real estate journey. And so, that's why we're here tonight, to bring you some more information, to discuss some topics. This is actually, I guess, part two, because last week I interviewed Josh and now he wants to interview me.
It's
And
my
and
turn,
hey,
guys.
bring it on. I'm ready. Let's do this thing. But before we do that, though, I do want to honor our ancestors. It is Black History Month, and I just cannot not mention some people that really made an impact in history. Because, unfortunately, Black history, which is part of American history, a lot of times it's not taught in schools. And I just want to make sure that, my race and generations to come, they know some of this information. Hopefully we'll start getting some more of this information in schools, though, right?
Absolutely.
It's 2020, it's a new day and time. So hopefully, there'll be a change with that. But one thing that I do want to talk about when it comes to Black History Month and who we're honoring, I want to honor a gentleman by the name of O.W. Girly. He was a wealthy landowner, and he bought 40 acres of land in Tulsa. And that sparked the creation of what we call Tulsa's Black Wall Street. And
Wow.
so, yeah, he was the first business owner um, to create a business that sparked the whole, I guess, evolution of Black Wall Street. There were doctors, lawyers, hospitals, um,
Wow.
pool halls, nightclubs, those theaters, library, movies, and it was
Everything.
self-sustaining. It was
Yeah.
self-sustaining. They say that the dollar in that community um, did not leave that community until it changed hands like 19 times.
19?
We don't even have that now today, do we?
That's crazy.
Do we
That's
even
like a
have
little
that
economy
today?
right there. I don't think 19 times?
Yes, 19 times before it
Wow.
left
That's
the
amazing.
community. Yeah, and the population in that community grew to about 10,000. Um, and it was 1906 when it was founded or created. But tragically, of course, it was destroyed by a massacre that began in May 31, 1921,
Wow.
unfortunately. And so I just want to pay homage to all of those people that created that community, um, and built what they built. Unfortunately, it was a massacre, and I don't want to get in too deep, into everything that happened. You can read up on Tulsa's Black Wall Street. You could Google. I will definitely leave some links to some great videos.
For a gentleman to be able to inspire that sort of coalition
Yeah,
amongst a group of people, he's inspiring to me, because it's hard enough to get people on the same page.
right,
And to be able to get 10,000 people moving money 19 times in their community,
right.
that's that's like a force of nature right there. That's hardcore,
Yeah,
So that's amazing. Yeah, I mean O.W. Gurley, it's
yep,
an amazing name. I'll look him up.
yep. O.W. Girly. That's something that people could go and research and
Drop
learn.
it on the comments.
Yeah, if you wanna learn more of O.W. Girly and see what he was about, drop it in comments. If you want us to have another conversation about it, just let us know. We'll do the research and we'll get you the information.
Marvelous, Marv.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
OW Girly. That's a
Yeah.
that's a
O
that's a
O O period W period Girly.
OW.
Gurley.
That's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's big. That
Yeah.
is really
I mean, they pretty much had a whole city, like a whole town going on
yeah. And everybody was on the same page.
the same page,
Do you
helping
think
each
that's
other,
possible this
supporting each
season?
other. Is it
Yeah.
possible?
Is it possible?
Well, I'm an optimist, so of course I'm gonna say everything is possible, and I believe with God all things are possible. Um,
Yes, yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So it's possible. We just have to come together and be more of a support to each other, really, and get on one
Absolutely.
page and you know, one accord. But
One
yes,
accord.
it's definitely possible.
That's that's awesome. They
Hmm.
did a big thing
Yeah, yeah,
either way.
yep.
All right.
So what are your questions for me tonight, Mr. Josh?
Well, thank you, Mrs. Gerald, for allowing me to be able to, host this sit down today. I appreciate it. I know you do a great job, and I'm a big fan. I watch all your episodes, so you guys subscribe. And she basically gave me
Wait,
the
and you have to
opportunity
hit the
today to
notification bell. You have to hit the notification bell so that you can know
hit
when
the
I'm
notification
uploading new
bell.
material. Yeah. Yeah. Subscribe, hit the
Exactly,
notification
exactly.
bell. Yes.
And
Let's have
drop
some
comments.
conversation. Let's have some
Yes.
conversation. I'm a researcher. I love to learn. Nobody knows everything. Nobody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm a researcher. I love to learn. So please, ask me some
There
questions,
you
stuff
go,
that I
guys.
don't know. I will do the research and I will find that information.
Bombard her with research questions.
Yeah, I love
Keep
it.
her,
I love to
keep her in the
learn.
wit.
Who doesn't
Yeah,
love to learn?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're gonna research, I'll come up with a couple of questions for you to research. So hopefully, we'll get you tied down.
Okay. Okay.
But
Okay.
anyway, thank you so much for letting me host. I appreciate it. So today, I thought it was very important for us to kind of see things from the consumer's perspective.
Okay.
As a
Okay.
consumer, you know, dealing with real estate isn't an everyday occurrence. We have jobs, we have things that we do.
Right.
So when it comes to real estate and someone talking real estate, it just seems like this big idea or this big thought or this big thing in our path and just kind of breaking it down. So today we wanted to take some time to see it from the perspective of the consumer and ask the questions that they would ask.
Okay.
Questions that I would ask if I
All right,
was
let's go.
trying to buy a house or trying to do
Yeah.
anything with real estate. So and it's great that we have a real estate guru here. She has many, many years of experience. Has been doing this for a long time, and we work together on a few cases. And she's excellent at what she does. So,
And I just sent you another deal the other day,
did
didn't I, Josh?
I got it. I got. What can I say?
We're gonna see. I'm still taking Joshua test run.
Why? Why are we going for a test run?
Okay, all right, all right, all right.
You found the Ferrari. You don't test run the Ferrari.
Okay, all right.
If they
All
give
right,
you
all
a
right, all right.
Ferrari,
I'll let that go. I'll let it go. I'll let it go. Okay.
okay. I mean,
All right. So
so
you're one of my preferred lenders now. Okay.
hey, I'm awesome. That's awesome.
All
That's awesome.
right.
So let's just start it off this way, Des. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and just what are you all about and like how'd you get into this industry?
Okay. So and I've if people's watched my video, I have kind of given them that answer, but for those of you
Okay.
who's just tuning in and just watching the show and haven't seen anything else, so I was born in the town of Roxbury, Massachusetts, and I was
Wow.
born to a mother that had OCD.
Oh wow. Okay.
And we joke around with my mom about this all the time, and we laugh about it, but we say, Mom, you know what? I think you had OCD. because she would wake us up every Saturday morning around 6 o'clock. It was like
Okay.
clockwork, like 6 o'clock. We get up and we had to dust, we had to mop, we had to vacuum, we had to wipe the walls, clean the baseboards, rearrange furniture, just
Wow.
all of that. And then after that, we would go shopping. We would go shopping. We would get like new curtains, or she wanted to go get some new comforters, rugs, throw rugs, new decor items, and we were always switching up the house.
Wow.
So she prepared me for staging. She prepared me for staging, and then my dad, he didn't have his
That's
real
interesting.
estate license.
Yeah.
Um, he didn't have his real estate license, but he bought property. So my dad was always a landlord. So real estate staging, real estate staging.
Wow. That's
So I was
amazing.
born into it. I tell everyone I was born into it. So it's in me. It's a part of me. I love to do it. I'm a workaholic. I work too much because I love to do it, and it's in
Yeah.
me, and it's something that I'm passionate about. But that's who I am.
Okay.
And I got my license. I started my my journey to get my license in 2003, and got it towards the end of 2003. Back then it was a salesperson license, and then
Okay.
a couple of years I did the full broker license.
Okay.
And then in 2007 I got certified as a accredited staging professional. And then of
Yeah.
course we all know what happened in 2008.
That's
2008
amazing. Yeah.
2008 was not a good time.
Not a good year for anyone. I
No.
don't
And so I posted my resume everywhere. I was going to go back to Boston, Atlanta. I didn't care. I just was like, I need to get a job, which was pain. Like that, it was painful even thinking
Yeah.
that I would
Yeah.
have to get a job or a 9 to 5,
Wow.
because I always knew I was going to be my own boss. I always knew
Okay.
that. But before I moved to North Carolina, I was a mutual fund accountant. So that's the type of job that I was looking for, just an accounting position or something. And I ended up getting some work here in Charlotte, and voila, here I am,
Here you are.
here in Charlotte.
Okay, so you got licensed in 2003. A couple years later, you became a broker, but 2008 hit. It was tough times for everyone. So you
Yes.
decided maybe I need to go back into accounting, right?
For the meantime,
For the
because
meantime.
I know things go in cycles, and the market would have picked back up. So I
Yeah.
was just, for the meantime, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
My dad
And
always taught me, my dad and my mom always taught me that you should always have a few things to fall back on. So, yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I mean, you did that. You wanted to get back. Did you go into accounting? Did you go back into it, or it was
No,
something?
actually, I got a job working for Spanish Yellow Pages,
Oh
doing
wow.
sales in Charlotte. That was the job that I got. And then my daughter's aunt was starting a talk show, a pilot. And she was like, Des, I know you know how to stage and all of that stuff. I need you to help me with my talk show set. So I was helping her, and then I actually got an offer to work with a staging company part-time here in Charlotte as well. So
Okay.
all roads were leading to Charlotte, and that's how I ended up here. Yeah,
Okay. Where
yeah.
you originally from?
Boston, Massachusetts.
Boston. Okay.
Roxbury, the hood.
Wow. Wow. That's
I don't mind saying I grew up in the hood, because when you grow up in the hood, you learn some things, and you learn how to create something out of nothing.
yeah.
And so,
Absolutely.
thank God I have that gift. I can create things out of nothing.
Struggle definitely hones that skill.
Yes, yes, the struggle.
Yeah.
The struggle's real sometimes.
That's interesting. So why Charlotte? Like when you moved out of Boston, Like what? I know you got the job here. Was the job what attracted you here? You said you were here before, and you just the job just kind of kept you here. What initially brought
Well, okay, it's a tragic story, so I'm not going
you?
to
Okay, okay.
go too deep into it. I will just say that my sister's husband was killed in his barbershop, and
Oh,
they had planned to move to Kernersville, North Carolina. And so she had found a job before they, was ready to move. So she came down, started looking for a house and all of that. And about 2 weeks before, my brother-in-law and kids were to, meet up with her, some guy came in and exchanged words, and
wow.
yeah.
Sorry
So
to hear that.
yeah, and so she came back, stayed for a little bit, and then one day woke up and said, you know what, I think my husband would have want me to still move to North Carolina, so I'm moving. And so she ended up moving, and of course she started to lure me towards this way. I was planning on moving to Miami,
Oh
and
wow.
yeah, I was planning on moving to Miami because most of my dad's side is there. Well, he still has a lot in Boston as well, but said, "Oh, just come make a pit stop." And then she's like, "And Des, they have these builders with these model homes, and you can decorate it, and this is." So she definitely.
She knew. She
I was like,
knew.
"No, but I'm a city girl. I need to see tall buildings." No, what are you saying?
She knew.
But yeah, she knew, and so I came. I helped her move. I picked out her house and everything, and I was like, "Oh, this is a house I saw in my dream. You got to get it." So she got the house, and I mean, the rest is history. I ended up going back, and I started thinking about it, and I felt bad because I knew she's gonna be out here by herself with the kids, and so I'm here now. She told me
Okay.
to make a
Okay.
pit stop before I go to Miami. I came. I never left, um, and been here since then.
That's
2001.
awesome. That's
2001 to 2008, Winston-Salem area, and then 2008 to now, Charlotte.
that's interesting.
And that's
That's
why I
interesting.
service that area as well, because I'm, pretty familiar with Greensboro, High
Yeah.
Point, Kernersville, Winston-Salem. So,
So
yeah,
now we know a little bit about your history. That's like I never knew that those things lined up.
yeah.
So originally from Boston, moved to not Charlotte, but the North Carolina
Uh-huh.
area in North Carolina, and eventually found your way back to Charlotte.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So what do you find interesting about the city? What's the main core things that you enjoy here? How have you made your time in Charlotte?
Well, I mean, I call it my suburban city.
Suburban city.
That's what I call it. It's a suburban
Okay.
city. It's not a huge city. Well, some people think it's huge. To me, it's not huge.
Yeah.
I'm from Boston,
Yeah.
but I love the feel. I love the energy even now because it's just growing so fast.
Okay.
And I'm seeing a lot of cute, like just unique stores popping up here and there. I love it. I love it.
Okay.
I love
That's
it.
pretty cool.
And it's
So Charlotte,
the medium age is what, anywhere between 30s to 50s, the medium age. So it's like a young city too, you know?
it's a young city.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
young city.
absolutely.
Young city.
And it's growing rapidly.
Rapidly.
It is growing rapidly.
Yeah.
Okay. So like basically you came out to Charlotte and you're in an area where it's growing rapidly. What do you enjoy being a realtor? Like what piques your interest about it? And like what does your day-to-day look
Ooh, my day to day.
like? Yeah.
My day to day looks like if I had like 10 hands, like 10 arms, like if I could show you like the arm hanging out here, the arm hanging out here, arms hanging out my head. I just, I get pulled in a lot of directions. From, referrals to already assisting. I have 6 buyers out now. And it's just and then I
Wow.
have like a few listings that I'm about to put on. Um, Meetings, I'm in meetings. It's nonstop. It's just nonstop. I mean, I actually I went out for showings with my client over the weekend, and I was so shocked and amazed. Granted, the price point is a price point where houses just don't stay on the market. But we went to three houses. The first house, we were third in line. The
Wow. Third in
second
line.
house, third in line to go inside to look at the house.
So
The
there was a line to see the house.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah,
That's
and
demand right there.
that's the man. That's the man.
That's
The second house
demand.
that we were second in line, and the third house was a doozy. The third house, it was like there was a concert. There was a
Oh,
concert
wow.
because I think it was an open house plus people that had scheduled appointments. So I
Okay.
think I think we were seventh in line at the third
Wow.
house. So yeah, Charlotte is really, really, it's busy. It's busy. It's
I
really busy.
bet.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So Charlotte really piqued your interest. You stuck around. You enjoy it. I mean, and I know as a mortgage broker that there's a lot of activities in Charlotte, and I do a lot of loans out here.
Hmm.
And like from my perspective, I've always wanted to know this. How do you find the right realtor? How do you know that someone is the one? And how do you connect with that person? Being that there's so many, like
Hmm.
how do you find that genuine spirit or that person that's gonna help you achieve your goal?
Okay. Now I did do a how to vet a real estate broker. So I do have a video where, I let consumers know the types of questions that they should ask.
Okay.
Um, but I would say, in this day and age where there's social media and everything is online, it's so easy to Google, to look at people's reviews.
Okay.
To me, word of mouth, that is still the best
That's gold, huh?
marketing. That's golden.
Okay.
Because you can ask a family member, friend, or whatever, well, who did you use, or do you know of any good real estate brokers? And you'll get the answer. And then you
Okay.
can Google them as well and see if they have reviews and stuff like that online.
Okay.
Um, Realtor.com, I think, has a section where you can look up realtors in certain areas. And you know what? I don't know. I know for me, I can having an agent account. I'm not sure what the consumer account looks like, but you should be able to look up agents on there. You can see how long they've been in the business, their experience, how many houses they closed. Um, and then once you connect with that realtor, again, like there's a video that I have with the different questions that you can ask them. But more importantly, I push transparency. I push relationships. I'm big on relationships. Building a relationship to me is one of the best things you can do to sustain your business.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Um, okay. I mean, relationships is your thing. And I'm assuming that's probably one of the things you want to look at a realtor when you go sit down with them. Do
Hmm.
they communicate? Am I understanding what they're talking about? So,
Right.
I mean, being that there's so many realtors, and there's so many properties that's moving frequently. Like I drive down the street sometimes and I see for sale signs, but I
Hmm.
also see like for sale by owner. So the question kind of comes up in my eyes or in my mind: what is the importance of really having a realtor? I mean, if the demand is there, people, I'm standing 7 feet, or I'm sorry, seventh in line to see a house. There's
Hmm.
obvious demand.
Right.
Why am I going to have a realtor represent me?
Well, do you want the short answer, the long answer? Like, Because to keep it short and simple
I
and
want the
plain,
most potent answer.
to
Huh?
keep it short and simple and just to the point, I would ask this question like, would you go into a courthouse and represent yourself if you know nothing about the law? No, you're going to
No,
try to get an attorney,
that's what
right?
yeah, absolutely.
So it's kind of like the same scenario, you know? Um, and realtors, so the real estate commission protects consumers.
Okay,
And so real estate brokers have licenses to protect consumers.
right,
And so, there's certain things that we learn, there's certain skill sets that we have. Um, I mean, if you want to put your house on the market, how do you really go about finding out if you are putting it on for the right price? How do you get that information, right?
okay,
A realtor gives you that information.
right,
Or, you could get the house appraised, but a realtor gives you that information. When it comes to presenting your house to put it on the market,
right,
how do you know how to present your house if you go inside your house every day, and you live in that house, but you're not going into everybody else's house to see how it's marketed, or, what their house looks like, and what their house offers to someone that's
right,
on the market. um when it comes to accepting offers, you know realtors are really trained to negotiate and get you top dollar. Now sometimes sellers are wanting more than a
yeah,
realtor will tell them that they should put the house on the market for. But it all, at the end of the day, the house will not move if it's not at the right price. It's not going to move, like, so. But
right,
where do they get that information? From a realtor. We know things that you should watch out for, and we, like, as far as, like, there's a residential property disclosure that every seller needs to fill out, you know that talks about the house, asks certain questions about the house, like what's the age of the roof, the heating system and all of that. Like, where do you get those documents from?
okay.
The
That
realtor. Like,
realtor provides
I
all of that.
the realtor provides all of that. Now, granted, I think there's a few documents that you can get on the North Carolina Real Estate Commission, but it's not the offer to purchase. It's not, addendums. I mean, we have a plethora of contracts to use for various different things.
Right,
Um, so yeah, I mean, pretty much, you're not gonna go if you're sick. You're gonna go to a doctor. Or if you break your arm. Let me say that, because I mean, sometimes I'm sick and I take care of myself at home. So let me say, if you break your arm, you're gonna go to the doctor to have it fixed, because
yeah.
they're
You
skilled at
cannot not go to the doctor if you break your arm. You gotta
right,
go.
right.
Yeah,
They're skilled at that. So.
that's crazy. But I still find myself seeing a lot of like for sale by owners. Like what's the fallacy in thinking with these people?
Well, the fallacy, I think, is that Charlotte is a hot market, like we discussed earlier, and at a
Yeah,
certain price point, houses don't stay on the market. They don't.
right,
Um, so I could see where, a for sale by owner is like, okay, well, the market's hot. I could sell my house. I could just stick a sign in the yard, and I could put my house online, and it'll go. And
yeah,
I mean, that could very well be the case, you know, because of the way that the market is. But are you really, are you doing a disservice or to yourself? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it depends on the price of that house. And then some people say, well,
right.
if you're not paying a realtor commission, then, you know, then yeah, you're making out. But it's not, anything under 200, maybe. If you only sell a house once or two times in a lifetime, I would definitely say go with someone that sells houses all the time. Like that's what they do and that's their job. They know the
Yeah.
new laws, they know the new rules. The laws change every day. Contracts are up, not every day, every year. Contracts are updated every year. It's just too much, for a consumer to really know if they're not, they're not skilled at it. Let a professional help you with that, for sure.
Wow, that's a good answer.
We're handling so many things, especially behind the scenes.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna ask you that. Okay.
For everyone, let me tell you this. I will say this, 'cause I was reading this somewhere. Um, for every 1 hour, they say for every 1 hour that a realtor spends with their client, that a client sees that, the realtor spending time with them, just answering questions or just advising them, right? For every 1 hour, there is 9 hours behind the scene that a realtor is doing that you don't even see,
Right.
you know? Um, so, we definitely do a lot. Unfortunate these
And
days,
yeah.
we're getting a bad rep, like we just, connect a buyer to a seller, write up a contract, and that's it. No, it's so much more than that. So much more than that that I wouldn't even want to like draw out tonight's segment with all the things that we do. I mean
Yeah.
that can be one segment alone where I'm just going through all the things that we do. Whether depending on whatever hat you're playing, whether you're a listing agent or a seller's agent, whether you're working with an investor, whether you're working with a renter or tenant, whatever the case may be, there's so
Okay.
many things that we do behind the scenes. It's
Okay.
it's 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 a lot. It really is a lot. So
Sounds like you guys are invaluable. That's you do a lot, and there's a lot of value to having a realtor.
absolutely.
So like my next question is really, from the consumer's perspective.
Hmm.
There's a lot of these ads that I hear all the time, or they have commercials out. We'll take the place of the realtor. You can come with us. It's digital. We'll do all those things for you. And we'll even give you the value of maybe, allowing you to move. And like there was one in particular, and it comes up on YouTube all the time. And their value proposition is, we'll take on the property. We'll fix it up. We'll manage it. You go find another property, and when you find that other property, we'll put this property on the market for you. We'll sell it, and we'll do it. We'll do it all electronically, and you don't have to worry about anything. Like, what's the difference between those services and like a face-to-face community? Does that make sense?
You said the difference between those services and a face-to-face?
Like a realtor, a personal realtor. Like there are companies like Zillow, for example.
You mean
They're
pillow? Pillow? No.
Zillow. What's
Listen,
that?
don't get me started with these companies, okay? Because I'm telling you, let me tell you guys this straight up.
Okay.
If it wasn't for realtors, there wouldn't be no properties on the market. That's first and foremost, okay? So let's just give as much respect as we can to realtors when it comes to
Right.
that. Now,
Okay.
yes, we do have an off market that investors and wholesalers dibble and dabble in. Yes, we do have that. But when it comes to retail and selling a house that is renovated, fully repaired, like turnkey, realtors realtors, it's like if it wasn't for us, they wouldn't be on the market. Okay.
Okay.
And the things with all these, so we have something called the MLS, and that stands for the multiple listing service, right?
Okay.
And
MLS.
I'm going to say, if you are not working with a realtor, you can't trust the listings of any of these other sites. And here's why. Because we're the ones that put listings on, and we're the ones that take listings off of the multiple listing service.
Okay.
Okay? So it's live. Okay? Whereas these secondary sites are not live. They're not live. They get the information like one, two, three. Sometimes I've even seen information go over to another site 7 days later. So while it's a hot market, right? And you want to make sure that you get that property as soon as it hits, and you're messing around with all these other sites that's not even live like the MLS,
Right. Right. That
you are
makes sense.
wasting time and spinning your wheels. Who does
That
that?
makes sense.
Where they do that at? All
Right.
over,
That
all
makes
over.
sense. Yeah. All
Because
over.
a lot of people don't realize that, the MLS is live. We're the ones putting listings on and off. And the
Right.
things about those sites, ladies and gentlemen, those sites exist to make money off of realtors. Because yeah, they do. They exist to make money off of realtors. Here we are, you know, busting our chops out here, working hard, trying to get us a listing or try to pick up a buyer, and we're putting listings on and off. And then these other companies that have outdated information
Yeah.
are going to market to consumers, right? And then they're going to call us and try to sell us leads. It's called lead generation.
Wow. That's crazy. So sit
Huh?
right there.
Huh?
Middle.
You want me to pay you for for listings that me and my other realtor peers are putting on the market? Really? We got to pay you for our own we got to pay for leads for our own listings?
That's
Nah.
crazy.
No, no. So lead generation companies, if you're out here listening, that's why every time you call me, I'm like, I don't pay for leads. I don't.
Right.
I don't
Wow.
believe in paying for leads. If you're a good realtor, you use your database. Your leads are in your database.
Yeah.
Period. Period. End
Yeah.
of story. So
That makes sense.
that's why I said don't get me started, because I'll get riled up. I will get riled up when it comes to these secondary sites. And I
Okay.
always warn my clients against going to these sites because again, it's a hot market. I just explained earlier that we had to wait in line to look at houses. Why would you be messing around with these secondary sites that have outdated information?
That makes sense. That makes sense.
So
So it's not as live as the MLS.
it's
They
not.
get it
It's
secondarily.
nothing. Is nothing as live as the MLS. If you're not dealing with a realtor, like a realtor that's giving you their website or their mobile, whatever, you're not getting live information, period.
Wow. Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know. So another question, and I think like you've answered a lot of my questions, and you've done a really good job in like kind of illuminating some of the dark spots in my knowledge of realtors. So thank you for that. Um, Let me ask you this question, if I may, and I think I'll bow out at that point. I asked you what values that they bring to the table.
Mhm.
I asked you how do you find the right realtor. I asked you if they're representing, your goals. What you should be looking for, and we also talked about FISBOs. Let's talk about like the process now. You want to find a home. Is it a smart idea from the consumer side to have multiple realtors working for you? You're working with multiple realtors, and then they find a perfect home for you, and then you go with them, or how? What does the process usually look like?
Okay, now I will say it really depends on uh, the type of buyer. So if it's an investor, like, it's almost common practice that you're going to be dealing with different realtors and
Okay.
even wholesalers. You're going to have some wholesalers that are assistant
Okay.
investors, right?
Okay.
But for a just a regular retail buyer just looking for something turnkey, houses on the market, um, there, there's like some consulting that takes place
Okay.
because every buyer is different. And so you need to get to the needs of that buyer, right?
Right.
So for instance, I'm currently working with a buyer that wants to be in a certain area, right? And but that certain area, right at their price point, is kind of a hard price point.
Right.
So what I'm doing is I'm giving them three options, right? Hey, we could see if we could find something at your price point. We could see if we could find an older home, renovate it. You could do a renovation loan, or
Okay.
we could see if we could find a lot and you can build on that lot, right? So in saying that, there's a special um what's the word that I'm looking for? It takes time. It's not like just, oh, I'm an investor and this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this market and you can just shoot them something, right? It's a person really sitting down and taking their time and getting to know the needs of that buyer and making sure that they're servicing them correctly and making sure that they can hit their needs and wants.
Okay.
You cannot do that with two, three, four, five different realtors at the same time. You,
Right.
you
Right. Right.
just,
Right. Right. Right.
you know, me personally, I do not, I have a process. And my process is a buyer meets me, we do a buyer assessment. I created a buyer assessment that gathers information.
Okay.
Once I gather the information, I know whether or not, okay, you know what, this person may need some credit building, or I could send them straight to the lender. Send them to the lender. The lender does a pre-qual. All my lenders know I need a pre-approval. I don't really go to the next step with that buyer unless
Yeah.
I have a pre-approval, which means they fill out the application, their credit was pulled, and they send in the documentations to support that application.
Absolutely.
Once that's done, then the client comes back to me, and then I can do a buyer consultation, and I can make sure I sit down and I take my time and make sure that their needs and wants are met. So the best thing to do is to really do your homework when it comes to choosing a realtor. Really
Okay.
take the time to research who you're going to be working with before you make that decision. Okay.
Okay.
And once you make that decision, you of course you do a exclusive buyer agency agreement
Okay.
with one realtor. Because just think about it. Like, if you're a realtor and there's so many hours in a day and you have clients to service and you don't get paid hourly, you know, you don't get paid until that deal is closed.
Right.
So a realtor really has to pay special attention to their time and how
Right.
they use their time, you know.
Right.
I
Right.
think a lot of people do not think about that, but everybody knows money is time and time is money. And nobody wants to waste their time with non-commitment when you have to really take your time. to really service a client and service them well. With an investor, I mean, it's a given. Like I actually have a cash buyer list. I have investor list. So I actually just throw everybody on the same email, right?
Okay.
And just shoot them out here. Here's my deal. This is what I have, and see who wants it. So it's a totally different animal depending on the
Okay.
type of buyer, if that makes
Okay.
any sense. Does that make any
It
sense?
does. It
Okay.
does. It does. It does.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. That's pretty cool. I think, yeah, like I think you've taken away a lot of the parts that I didn't really understand about the real estate part. And I know if I don't understand it, a lot of your listeners won't be able to understand it. So I'm glad that we took the time today to really go through that. Is
Yeah.
there anything that is there anything or any additional value that you would like to kind of speak on as far as realtors are concerned, or any values that you want to highlight before we conclude for today?
I mean, I think I've highlighted a lot. I think I've
Okay.
highlighted a lot. The main thing that I would like everybody to really take away is that realtors are just not meeting someone, you find them a house, you go on a contract and you're getting a check.
Okay.
It's so much more than that. As a matter of fact, like there are pre-listing activities, and I can just read down the line, like
Okay.
some of the things that we do, like you make an appointment with the seller and a listing presentation. You send written email confirmations and appointments, and you call to confirm appointments. You review appointment questions. You research all comp properties, meaning have to see what houses are selling for in the market. You have to
Right.
pull other properties, right? And you have to kind of do your analysis to say, okay, if I put this house on the market, this house could potentially sell for this much, right?
Okay.
I mean, I can go a list of things that we do. There's pre-listing activities, there's listing appointment presentation. When it comes to buying a house, I mean, I don't, like I said, that's one segment, that's one show in and of itself.
In and of itself, it's
Yeah,
a lot of information to
it's
digest.
a lot of stuff that we do.
Okay.
Now, I'll just have another show on that. Like once you choose your realtor and they're either listing for you or their buyer's agent, list off all the things that they potentially do in the transaction. We could have a totally another segment on that, and I can just read all the stuff line item. I actually have a list of 184 things right here that I can read off.
184 things.
184 things that
That's a
we
lot
do.
of things.
Yes. Yes.
That's amazing. Wow. 100 little, like, there's big parts to it, but, a lot of different ways that realtors help you to impact. At 184. Wow. That's a big number.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, I think, you've done a great job, Mrs. Gerald. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer my questions.
That's
Is there
okay.
anything else that you would like to address before?
No,
Uh,
I'm good. I'm good.
yeah, that's awesome. This has been a great talk. And again, I want to thank you for allowing me to be a host, and just kind of asking some questions that, I've always wondered about. And I think a lot of your followers will definitely gain from this conversation. And guys, please subscribe and comment on the comment screen, and just kind of let
Yeah,
us know.
yeah, guys, if you want me to do a show on, like, I can read, like I said, I have like 184 things that a realtor does during a transaction and just different processes, whether they're listing, they're selling, they're listing, working with a buyer. Um, we could have a conversation and a show just on that. If you
Yeah,
want,
that's
drop a
awesome.
comment, leave a comment. If you want it, we'll provide it. All right.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Mrs. Gerald. I appreciate it. Miss
Okay.
Gerald,
Yes.
yeah, if there's nothing else, let's call it a wrap here.
All right, guys. Well, you know what, viewers? Thank you so much for watching again. Another Sensible Sundays. We will be back again at 9:30 on next Sunday. And next Sunday, we're going to be talking about credit. We're still going to be highlighting Black History Month. We're going to bring some more Black history information to you. And Karina is going to be up next week.
Wow,
We're going to be talking
Karina.
about the history of credit.
Okay.
Yes, the history of credit and just certain things that happen there. And I'm going to be talking about some discriminatory things that happen during the real estate industry as well. So I look forward to it. I look forward to you guys watching us again and making it happen again
Thank you so much, guys. I
every
appreciate you.
Sunday.
Have a good day,
So, all
guys.
right, guys, have a good night. And remember to be inspired and act on your inspiration.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye.